Hi, Saskia. I've had a little play around with the Excel spreadsheet. Made this little video because sometimes it's easy to explain. There's nothing worse than somebody else's spreadsheet to decipher. So the first thing I did is I looked at the ICS scoring model sheet, and because it's quite busy and you've got like text that is kind of expanded within the cell, looks a bit messy. And so what I did is I changed the the conditional data validation box so that rather than you can then select which one you want from that list. So what you're getting people to do is to score against the actual criteria rather than the number, if you like. And also it means that you can actually, if you look at those cells, you can diminish, so you can have it a much tidier sheet, a much smaller sheet, because you don't need all that stuff there because the stuff's within the formula. And the other thing it does is then you can, if you look at the formula in the formula bar, it will pull off from the statement. It will then give you a number. So the thing will generate a number from the statement, and that's because we have a matrix in there where you've put all the statements in a matrix, and it's just referencing that, whichever one it finds from that overall table. I've only done one, and it'll give you that number. So the other thing that you will have to do is obviously I've stretched your score. So rather than go 1 to 2, 2 to 3, whatever, you just have to just kind of put a bit of text in between. So you've got a criteria for every number. It didn't take me long. I don't think it'd take you long if that's what you chose to do. So that would give you a kind of neater way of displaying it, but also it would force people, if you like, to make the choice on the criteria, not the number. So that's one thing I think you could do. In the dashboard, there's quite a lot of conditional formatting already in because of the colors and stuff. And a lot of the hidden Excel bit, if you like, is based on nested if statements. So you've got like, some of them have got like 5, 6 nested statements in them. So there is a potentially better way to do that, which, because you were talking about capital expenditure, the more sustainable you make your sheet, the less you were going to need in the future to move in that direction. You can kind of continue with an Excel-based version. The first thing I did is I put in conditional formatting to show the score of each ICS as a bar within that, and I've used that quite a lot. It's quite a nifty way of doing it. And one of the benefits of that is you don't need to keep scrolling up to the graph. You can visually see that straight away. The other thing is that what I've done is changed. I put in another column to illustrate this, but instead of having the range as a text statement, you have the range as a number, and then that allows you to do things with that number later on. So, and again, you use what's called the XLOOKUP function. So, I had a table, a sheet called ranges, which is just using and if you just put the minimum range in, it will then return where it fits within the score range. It will return the number of the range and also the description in if you use that. So you could put the description, rather than be that complicated nesting formula, you could just have a one lookup table. And what's really good about that is that if you want to change the range, if you want to change the description, if you want to change the number, if you want to have 5 instead of 4 or 3, whatever it might be, in the future, you can just change those things, right? You don't have to then change all the formulas that it's talking about, which are quite complicated. And also means you can do it yourself, so you're not relying on somebody else to do it for you. So they're the two things I would recommend on the sheet. One is to put the bars in, and the other is these formulas where it's nested, to move those formulas from nested if statements to VLOOKUP tables, and then you've got a lot more flexibility longer term about what you put in there. You might want to play around with the formatting, because you've got, at the moment, there's conditional formatting on all of that. So that means, if I just show you, you go to conditional formatting and we look at the rules, that those rules, conditional formatting, apply to the whole, the cells that he's put in there. So you could change that. So you're applying conditional formatting to parts of the table, right? So to make things stand out, depending, rather than like everything. Sometimes and it also means that you can then, if you do that, it gives you more flexibility to put in, because you can have the text as a different color as opposed to the border. You just got a bit more flexibility. And the other thing is you can do is here, you can see that I put little icons in. So again, you can do that. And the reason you can do that is, I'll show you the manage rules with the icons, is because it's now basing that on the values, the actual values of the range. So again, that's another reason to keep the number in there, not the description. Okay, and that's about it. Hopefully that was useful. If you get any questions, let me know.